Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Today I want to take you on a little trip around the city of Nördlingen, or Nerle, how it is called in the East Swabian dialect. Nördlingen is a very beautiful and very interesting town, and it is located in an old meteorite crater, the Nördlinger Ries. So I guess almost all Germans learn about this city in geography class. But a couple of weeks ago was the first time when I actually went there. And I can tell you that although a lot of places were closed for the time being, it was really a wonderful day and a worthwhile trip, I think. Nördlingen is not as well known as Rothenburg ob der Tauber, for example, but it is also a free imperial city, a Freie Reichsstadt, and you can see a lot of traditional German Fachwerk houses there, and of course the city walls that encircle the entire town. So today I want to introduce the area in which Nördlingen is located. I will say a couple of words about the history of the town also, and then I want to show you a little bit what you can expect to see there when you visit this town. Before we start, however, I want to thank my subscribers and my supporters. Like, share and comment, and if you find this video fun or interesting, please consider making a donation being part of Bavaria. Many people don't know that Bavaria is actually a very diverse state. There are people from the Oberpfalz, there are Bavarians, there are Franks, and there are also Swabians in the west. Most of the Swabians live in the southwestern state of Germany, Baden-Württemberg, but some of them also live in Bavaria. So that puts Nördlingen right at the center of the German south. A very beautiful area in general, I think. So the crater was formed when a meteorite hit the area 15 million years ago. The geology of the area is of course shaped by that, and the rock is also typical for these meteorite craters. When you are in Nördlingen, you don't really see this crater, of course, but when you drive to the city, you notice that it goes up and down, and you can actually notice very easily when you go into the crater or when you pass the rim of the crater. From the coat of arms of the city, you can already guess that Nördlingen was a free imperial town. There were already settlements in the area during the Stone Age, and there was a Roman presence there too, a so-called Villa Rustica, which is basically a farm. There were also Roman fortifications there, and later in the 6th and 7th century we know that the tribe of the Alemans was settling there. At the end of the 9th century we find the first official mentioning in a document of the Carolingian Frankish kingdom. It was under the rule of the bishops of Regensburg under the name Nördlinga. In 1215, the Roman German king Frederick II elevated the city to the status of imperial town. Frederick II later became the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. Imperial town or free imperial town basically means that the city is only responsible to the king or to the emperor and not to some feudal lord in between. And that of course gives you a lot of advantages because the king or the emperor is not there all the time, so you can manage your affairs in the city more or less undisturbed, and the city council is the most important center of power where decisions are being made. Typically cities like that attract a lot of commerce and artists and craftspeople, and as is the case also for Nördlingen, they were placed at strategic positions, and Nördlingen is now at a crossroads between Frankfurt-Würzburg and Augsburg from north to south, and between Nürnberg and Ulm from east to west. So the imperial eagle of the Staufer is the coat of arms of the city, and also these medieval city walls are very, very characteristic for free imperial cities such as Nürnberg or Rothenburg also. These free imperial towns were important tools for the emperor to secure his power and his reign. It is not enough to be elected by the prince electors first, that is of course the first step, but then you must also protect and defend your power during your entire reign. And the first thing you need for that is a Hausmacht, that is the power of your house or your family. But of course, not every family or not any family is stronger than all the other families together. This is why a lot of emperors used the church actually as feudal lords, because they didn't have any legitimate offspring, these bishops, and then the lands just fell back to them. Another important tool were these free imperial towns. They were centers of commerce and of trade, they were well defended, and they were only reporting back to the emperor, not to any other feudal lord in between. And the more of these cities you had, the more power and influence you had with respect to the other houses in the empire. This is the reason why Nuremberg thrived, for example, while other cities that were still ruled by some bishop or by some other feudal lord were not so popular among people who wanted to make something out of themselves. And one of the very cool things about Nördlingen is that you can walk on the city walls around the entire town. Most of the city was also not destroyed during World War II, so most of it is still original. Nördlingen became Protestant in 1555, and there is a well-documented series of witch trials towards the end of the 16th century from Nördlingen that is quite interesting actually. Witches were burned on the so-called Hexenfelsen am Galgenberg, so the witch rock at Gallows Hill. It is said that these fires could be seen in the entire crater area, in the entire Ries. Until the end of the Holy Roman Empire, the city remained a Reichsstadt, and at the Reichsdeputationshauptschluss in 1803 it became part then of the Prince Electorate of Bavaria. So what is there to see in Nördlingen for you today? The city wall, first of all, I liked it very much. It has 5 gates with towers, 11 more towers and 2 bastions. As I said, you can just freely enter it via some stairs, and then you can roughly walk 2 kilometers around the entire town. There are many nice old buildings and a gorgeous town square. I will have to go there again because unfortunately right now, of course, the church and the tower that is called Daniel were closed at that time. But from up there you get a really good view on the entire town from above. So I really enjoyed just walking around, and it seemed like behind every corner there was another historic building or a beautiful garden or some nice flower beds. So I suggest you just walk around a bit and go exploring. The general character of the town is very German, and although you find Greek restaurants, some Italian restaurants, and even a Vietnamese place, it really doesn't look like there are a lot of foreigners there. It is a very German town, and I would say at this level the foreign influence is tolerable and it doesn't destroy the historic character of this German imperial city. So if you easily get triggered by foreign influences in old European towns, like last year a certain Australian gentleman who took a not so well planned trip to France, I suppose, you can rest assured that you don't get triggered when you go to Nördlingen. So if you want to see some of the impressions I had that day, you can just leave the video running. Enjoy the rest of your day. Servus, Kameraden.